yeah, welcome to my small shop. This building right here used to be a garden shed, and I spent last year on and off turning it from that little garden shed into this building right now, which is kind of like a workshop slash creative studio slash office. I thought I want to share the space with you guys and kind of go over some different pieces and just, yeah. So it's been a little while since I made a video about the small shop here. So what I kind of need here is more storage. Isn't that always the case? So I have a new storage counter slash cubby section behind here, a workbench, sitting corner, fold up table, desk setup here, tool cart. That's pretty much it. I have been debating about where to put a bench in this shop so many different times, going basically from every single corner. The latest thing I was thinking about was right in the middle here. Now this is a little bit too long for that. I could do it, but then I couldn't really have a chair there. I really love having the bench by the window like this, getting the natural light. It enables you to take, nicer photos, I think, and just being able to stand here and do things and look out the window. I can see my kid doing things, what he's up to, and he can come in and out. This bench is made in framing lumber. The top is relatively new. I actually have gone through a couple of tops for this bench. This is my old bench. One thing that I'm kind of planning on doing is adding a tool wall here for all my hand tools. And this is kind of one of those projects that I want to take my time with and do over time, build like one little tool holder at a time, kind of just do it for the relaxing aspect of it. Once I got this bench in here, this is pretty new, it was like I immediately got a sense of calm, just having a larger work surface to do different things on. It's really nice. So this has a vise right here with some jaws in oak. In the corner here, I have this tool cart. This was a project on the channel. This was one of the first things that I built for this space because I wanted to basically make a super efficient cart where I could have a lot of the battery powered tools and just like hammers and stuff like that in a very compact space. And I moved this around a bunch of times too. It has wheels on it. I'm kind of bringing it out for you guys. Inside here I have a small shop vac, I have an air compressor, and then just a variety of like stuff, like a glue gun, Dremel, gloves, trash bags, odds and ends, batteries. I have a charger here, I have drills, clamps, hammers, pliers, things like that. But I have a nice surface here as well. This is a hardwood surface. This is the same as the flooring. Same white oak flooring for the top here, and I'm thinking about maybe actually making a counter for the back unit as well with the flooring, because I have more flooring left over. I love the flooring look. I think it looks great. And I guess you could say that I went a little overboard, some people may think, by adding a hardwood floor in the space, but I would argue that it is what makes the space so comfortable. I love the hardwood flooring. It is the best. You wonder why I have that concrete or mortar here. This is because I'm kind of planning on doing some lights and very small concrete projects, and so I don't want to move it out of here, although I get kind of sick of seeing it in here. I also have these lit up shelves on the wall. This was also a project that's on the channel, and right now it's just kind of holding a variety of small things, cameras and stuff like that. Now, I want to say a big thanks to this video sponsor, which is WD-40. WD-40 recently updated their specialist line of products and changed the top of the cans from yellow to red and the cans from black and gray to blue and silver, simply to make it easier to find and identify them at the store. And their specialist line includes lots of different products for various uses.
I mean, some may think of WD-40 as one thing, but they have a bunch of different cans for an array of uses. Lubricants, greasers, cleaners, rust management, etc. So definitely very handy to have a couple of these on hand in your shop and around your house for different tasks. You know, the other thing I found interesting is that WD-40 originally was invented by scientists almost 70 years ago as a water displacing formula that was key to sending rockets into space. That's quite the history. I found that kind of neat. So thank you so much to WD-40 for sponsoring this video and supporting this channel.
Okay, this desk was an old desk that I used in a different space before, so I just used it because it pretty much fit the dimensions that I needed. I also have a light here because I do some filming here sometimes, and a little monitor so I can see it when I'm filming. I would like to build a better desk with some more storage and also more storage on the back wall and really have this be more of an office kind of situation. So this is a fold-up table with storage. I love this kind of idea for a small space where you want to be efficient and you may need a desk space or a table space sometimes, but not always. So this folds up. And then you have a bigger space here if you need it. And primarily what I'm thinking about that is if I was working on a bigger piece of furniture or if I was doing upholstery and I just kind of needed more floor space, then it's just nice to be able to have this feature. But to be honest, I really don't take it up much. I keep it down for most of the time. On top here I have a printer that I actually use quite a bit. And paper and just a box with miscellaneous wires because they tend to go everywhere, so this is like my wire box. I have a little pin here so that you hook this in so that you can't just, you know, accidentally like hit the legs and have the whole thing go down. I try to keep this space pretty clean. I think it is nice to have a surface that isn't full of things. Like when you have a desk with a computer and things, it tends to just be like full of those things, so you can't use it for anything else. But for this table right here, I try to keep it open so that I can use it for drawing or sewing projects and things like that. So I built this to fit my sewing machine right here. I think it's kind of nice for it as a sewing cabinet. But to be honest, I'm keeping this down all the time and I get kind of tired of looking at my sewing machine all the time. So I just, when I built this storage unit behind me here, I made one shelf dedicated for the sewing machine. So now I'm thinking about turning this cabinet more into dedicated office writing, books, paper, pen, you know, supplies for those kinds of things. But it's also a good space to just being able to like photograph or film a project. So I don't want to keep it like too full of things. So this cabinet is made with cherry plywood and also some cherry hardwood. Like the legs are hardwood and the edges, the caps here. And this is plywood but with like a thin, kind of like an edge banding on there. The one thing I do have to say though, if you use your tabletop rather heavily, and I would say that I don't really use it heavily. I've mostly been using it for sewing and building some things. But I have some finish on here, like polyurethane finish, but plywood for a work top is really not the greatest. It's already quite scratched up. So if I were to do this again, or if someone was doing this where they're planning on using this heavily, I would really kind of suggest either adding a lot more finish or using a hardwood top. Of course that would make it heavier as well and kind of change the design a bit. But I love the idea of this table. And there's a video on the site with this. Just the fact that you can just take it out, you get storage on the wall, it looks nice, it's super useful. When my kid is in here with me, which is most of the time, he often sits here and kind of plays and draws or something like that. So it's really nice for that reason as well. So we love furniture that kind of fills several functions. That's really great. So here is my small chair. And I suppose when I think about this space, it's not like a dedicated wood shop, because if that was the case, a nice chair might be kind of a weird use of space. You may want to put like a bandsaw here instead. But to be honest, I don't think about this space as like a dedicated wood shop. Like woodworking is a part of it, but it's really a kind of a small part of it. I want this to be like my creative studio, where I can kind of go into anything that I want. And so having a chair where you can sit down and like read a book or work on a design or study is really kind of nice idea. So behind me here, you can see one of my latest additions. This is just a counter, a storage wall. This whole storage unit is made entirely of scraps. I had little sections here, little here, and I decided to just piece them all together and use this. This is only 11 inches deep, but I found that is actually a pretty good depth because you can fit almost anything you need in there. So I made this using the simplest design possible in many ways, I think. Initially I was going to use pocket screws to secure these shelves to the sides, but then I'm using a lot of 1/2-inch plywood here, and I really am not a huge fan of using pocket screws when it comes to 1/2-inch plywood. I find that sometimes it's hard to get a good connection. So then I decided to just cut cleats instead, and I mean this is like, it doesn't get any easier than this. Just cleats that I secured with glue and a nail gun, and then I have the shelves resting here. Then I also have a nailing strip in between each section that screw into the wall, so the whole thing is attached and you can't just topple over. I guess a lot of us have one of these kind of tool cabinets. I don't really love these type of tool chests. I find they're pretty inefficient in terms of the space. But I just have a variety of things in here: sandpaper, instructions to different products that I'll lose them, mask related stuff. Although I'm thinking about maybe turning this into more of an art cabinet where I put all of my paints, like acrylics and oils and things like that, so that they'll be all in one place. Here I have a unit that sticks out just a little bit, but it's not, too bad. And this is one of my favorite. This is like has lots of little things organized in it. A lot of craft supplies, sewing stuff. This tool tote right here is one of my most used pieces. I use basically to transport things back and from the big shop. So if I need to get something or I just need to hold something. I love this thing. I made this back in Oregon. I was super pregnant when I did it, I remember, and I filmed it, and I just felt like I had too big of a belly to make a video about building this thing. But this is leather, and it's 2 pieces of leather, one inside and one outside. Put them together and then stain them with veg tanned leather, and this is oak. And then sewed it, and I love this project. It's like one of the most useful things. Let's see, I have a bunch of thread and stamps and leather. I'm gonna add a lot more leather in this space. Here I have, this is just plastic kind of bulbs and glasses and things like that. Most of this I picked up like at the craft store or at the dollar store. And this is what I want to use them for molds, basically, to make epoxy projects or concrete projects. So that's in there. Here I have my collection of like WD-40, different products, mold release, iron. This is my Japanese toolbox. I used to be really into carving my own stamps and printing them on fabric. These are all a bunch of fabric paints and then stamps that I carved for different things. I love the idea of creating your own fabric designs with stamps that you can make yourself. Of course, you can also design them in wood, and with the CNC machine that would be a nice thing to do as well. Although I do think there is something about the hand-created feel for some things as well, which is kind of nice to... like if you're doing something because you just love the action of it, and you just think it's relaxing and fun to do by hand, then it's nice to kind of keep it that way. Here I just have a bunch of paint. Oil paint, acrylics, water paint, more acrylic, sewing machine, and then just like wood scraps. As I was building this, I was thinking, oh, I have so much space for so many different things. And then as I started filling it up, I was like, I have no space at all, so there's so many more things that I want to put in here. So what I want to do next, I think I'm gonna kind of redo that whole top section. I think I'm just gonna add like a whole cubby section above too with shelving. You know, before I got into the woodworking to this extent, when I first started the channel, I was doing a lot more different kinds of things. And that's kind of what I want to bring back to this space, where I fill it with different artistic pursuits. So I can really go into the art more and paint and draw and sketch. And I can do more of the sewing and the quilting and create my own stamps and my own fabric designs. I want to keep the Darbin Orvar channel much more focused on projects and woodworking and CNC stuff. And it's something that me and Matt do together, and he will probably do even more of in the future. But when I think about this space right here, well, I might make another channel, I don't know, about the various kind of artistic pursuits that I want to do in here. The other thing that I have to take into account is that I have a 3-year-old kid who is with me almost the entire day. So being able to have him in here with me and making this space not a minefield of sharp and dangerous things is also pretty high on my priority list, that I can actually work on things and he can kind of be occupied with things and work on things in here at the same time. But moving forward on the Darbin Orvar channel, it's going to be a lot of exciting stuff. There's going to be the teardrop build, which is going to be a huge, huge project involving a lot of different things. And then lots of projects that kind of relate around the teardrop build. Accessories and small projects that go in that kind of travel theme. And lots of things in that direction. But thank you so much for coming with me on this little tour. Yeah, if you have any questions about anything, let me know in the comments below. And yeah, thanks. See you soon. Bye.